there's really never been in the history of mankind a better time to be a learner than right now. We're in this moment of it's awesome. And at the exact same time, I would argue a more challenging time for schools. Those two things right at the moment. And that's the challenge that we face right now. It's just the reality of it. I mean, there's nothing that you can't learn if you want to. As my friend Will Richardson said, if you're comfortable with education today, you're not paying attention. And I know that's, I don't see many people comfortable with status quo. So there's lots of talk, and the talk sometimes goes in some different directions. Not everybody sees things the same way, but this is where we're at today. And it's largely because we're in a time where we're facing one of the most disruptive moments in history, and with this new medium that we have. And as Neil Postman said a number of years ago, he said that when you have a new medium, it doesn't just add something. So when the printing press came along and people made books, it wasn't just, oh, we have Europe and then we have books. And when television came along, it wasn't just, well, here we are and we're television. It changed everything. And those two things, I want to suggest to you that those two things happened over quite a bit of time. Think of the book. How long was it, do you think, before they printed the first book, before people had them in their homes? We're talking centuries. And even with television, by the time television came out, there were decades before people had access to TV and it became the ubiquitous technology that it is today. But see if you remember, there's some of you in this room are not going to have a clue what this is. Some of you will know exactly what this is. Well, do you guys know what that is? Do you know? You don't have a clue what that is, do you? No, you will never know what that sound was. But for those of you that recognize that, that was a moment in time. Do you guys know that? Do you have a sense of what that was? Just asking some of our high school students. Fax machine? Pretty close. Anyways, it was the modem. And believe it or not, when that thing came on in your house, you would hear people yelling, "Hey, I'm trying to make a phone call. Get off that." That was a thing, right? You couldn't be on the phone, and you waited with bated breath to see what would come on the screen. And this thing would just go, and all of a sudden it would reveal, a minute later, it was a cat. And you were like, wow, this is amazing. And yet at that moment, that signaled the start of what we're in now. And I don't think all of us recognized, whenever that happened, for many of us, that was 20 or so years ago, what that was going to mean for our lives and our world.